Oh, it's pretty depressing. You have to do things to keep your spirits up when it's this bad. We've had one day of sunshine this week, and we got some work in, but all of our work is outside right now. So I've been having to work on taxes, which is another not very uplifting thing. But I did get around to last night watching a hangout that I didn't realize happened. I guess I need to plug back in to the YouTube gun community a little bit. I had kind of pushed myself away from it for a while because of a lot of the infighting. But it seems like some of the infighting had smoothed over because Yankee and Eric were in the same hangout, which I was glad to see, because we've got enough troubles without fighting amongst ourselves. But Hank did a really good job. I like Hank Strange. I've always thought he was a good guy, and I knew his channel would do well. But it reminded me that our problems are really, and let me back up just for a second. I heard on the news this morning that Trump was open to more gun control, and something about take guns early and due process later, which was a little worrisome. I think we're going to have to really somehow get through to Trump that that's not. Here's the thing, okay? All of these problems are local, okay? We can't expect the federal government to fix local issues. You just can't. This kid in Florida had been, the police knew about him. He had been either not arrested, but how many times did they go to his home? And there was actually memos about how he had behavior problems and he was a problem, and nothing was ever done about it. You know, these are the things that local communities have to deal with. Each community has to secure their schools. The states are responsible for education. A lot of people forget that it's the state and the counties that are responsible for our kids' education. You don't want a national, government being, there is the NEA, and this is part of the problem we're going to be dealing with trying to arm teachers, is that the every teacher is almost more than encouraged, and I'll say 90% of them are in a union. I remember because Barrett went through this, and I had to have a long talk with Barrett when he was getting his music education degree. I always encouraged him to become an entrepreneur, which he has done a very good job, and not to go into the public education field. He wanted to go work as a teacher, like a band teacher. And I said, you're going to be miserable. These people, they're union, they're in a union. They're 90% of all, teachers are liberals. You're talking about a culture. The academia is basically a liberalized culture, and trying to get them to agree, trying to get the teachers union. This is one thing I haven't heard anybody say anything about. Our teachers unions are probably going to protect them from having to carry guns. This is why that hardening up schools, providing security at schools, is going to have to be done at the administrative level, because your school boards obviously are not part of a union. Your teachers are. So you're going to have to take care of this at the school board level, and the school board is going to have to just say, okay, we're putting SROs, hopefully a canine officer, something in those schools to make them less gun-free. But somehow we're going to have to get to Trump and just tell him you're not the answer. You need to focus on telling people what the solutions are instead of just yielding to what you think is political pressure. We are not getting enough of the true representation of the average American because of the media and the entrenched politicians. There are no conservatives. There are very few conservatives anymore in the Republican Party, certainly not the Democrat Party. So basically have all these established politicians who are swaying him, and whatever public opinion the media can gather, it is false. The majority of Americans don't want that kind of gun control. And so somehow we have to get this message to Trump, because he will not get reelected. He might get reelected by Democrats if he enacts gun control. He won't get reelected from conservatives. So, and Trump, I mean, if he turns out to be a gun control president, he will have certainly fooled me, because I always knew that he carried, or he has supposedly carries, he has a carry permit. I would imagine he does for his own protection, being the person that he is. A well-known, wealthy businessman, it wouldn't ever have hurt for him to carry. So, anyway, I would I would like to be more relevant in this conversation, but I don't know. My channel never has really. I don't think. I think I'm probably just too soft-spoken and too nice, and I mean, I'm very opinionated, but I don't try to force my opinion on other people. So I'll do what I can, but the problem is there's no unified message among gun owners. The NRA has kind of destroyed our ability to have a decent, and this is the saddest thing. The saddest thing about the NRA is that they have destroyed the unified message that we had. They have become such a politicized organization themselves, and power hungry, and this is what happens when grassroots organizations grow to a certain size, they morph into something else, and that's exactly what has happened to the NRA. It has morphed into just a large conglomerate of, people where the board isn't relevant anymore. And I remember this from when I was one of the people who helped start Habitat for Humanity in Chattanooga. And I remember when we first started, it was really grassroots. Everybody was really excited. We went out and built houses for poor people, and it grew and grew and grew. People started donating money, and blah, 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 And they still do good things. I'm just saying it lost its grassroots appeal. So I moved on. I was the construction and volunteer coordinator for 2 years. And admittedly, it was an interim. Everyone who started the organization sort of agreed, or it was, stated that we would be interim positions and that permanent people would take over after that. But I was happy to move aside, because when people start donating money, they start feeling like they should have the power. And that's what happens in any organization, and that has certainly happened at the NRA. Excuse me, my oatmeal went down the wrong way. And that's what's happened at the NRA. The people who are donating the largest amounts of money seem to have the power. The members of the NRA don't seem to have any power anymore, and so we don't have that voice. So somehow we have got to be able to figure out how to unify a voice, get that voice heard, and just make people realize that these problems are local, and if you don't deal with them locally, I mean, the day after And this is sad, really, because we should have been taking care of these people earlier. The day after the shooting in Florida, we had several arrests here the next morning of kids, this is in Chattanooga, of kids who made threats. You know, they're probably copycat or whatever, and who knows whether they meant them or not, but they were arrested. And even yesterday, there's been 5 or 6 arrests since then here locally. And that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to take care of your own schools and secure your own schools. You can't do it through some national, you can't expect the federal government to do it. So, a lot of issues there. Gotta go work on stinking taxes. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm not really getting that many views anymore, so I guess I'll keep going. But it's I don't know. It's hard to keep what you think is a good message going when you feel like you're just talking to a camera and nobody else. Anyway, y'all have a good day. See ya.